Hello, teens in AI. Thank you very much for inviting me to speak with you all. It's very exciting for me. I've known Elena and Aisha for a few years now, and I continue to be utterly amazed and inspired by teens in AI, and I'm sincerely honoured to be part of the series Accelerator. So about me, my name is Sinéad O'Brien. I'm sharing these photos that remind me of all the things I can't do at the moment, like traveling with my friends and seeing my family in Ireland. But actually, technology thankfully brings us closer together and allows us to do lots of things like we're doing today. So this is great. I am the BBC's AI and ML engagement lead. That means that I focus on internal and external relationships around AI and machine learning. So things like building our community of practice in the BBC and then collaborating with other organisations outside of the BBC and projects that we really just can't do as well on our own. It's worth noting that I am not technical at all. I really act as a glue between lots of different functions of the organisation, and so I really don't need to be a subject matter expert, but I do need to bring my leadership skills and my relationship building skills to work with me every day. And I wanted to share a little bit about my journey, as it's a job I never saw myself doing at all. In fact, it's a job that didn't exist when I was at school, but I've always been curious and open-minded, and somehow I found myself in this really interesting and exciting space. What's interesting now is that at the age of 18 I wanted to become an accountant, and today machines are doing a lot of our accounting, but my accounting studies didn't quite work out, and in the end I got a degree in social science, so the humanities. And I guess the world has changed for social scientists quite a bit in the years between as well, and we've stepped into this really important space between technologists and all the other disciplines to ensure more inclusive and diverse technology decision making. And I guess as you're working on your accelerator projects, you're not just working with data engineers and data scientists, are you? You'll have been working with designers and business strategists and project managers, ethicists, and so on. And this is a really good example of what I do. I bring together people to collaborate on more diverse and more inclusive solutions. And I guess just to say, going back to my social science background, I've done many things since then. I built TV studios as my first real job. I project managed building TV studios, even though I knew nothing about them, but it was more about making sure kit was in the right place at the right time. I then worked building up data centers across the world, so from Dubai to Beijing to Amsterdam. I worked at Disney, and I project managed the release of Disney Life, which was a predecessor to Disney Plus, and then I started work at the BBC 4 years ago, and discovered the world of AI and ML in public service. So enough about me. Let me share about what's going on at the BBC and what we're doing in this space. Well, as you all know, machine learning is having an increasing impact on many areas of our lives, so both at work and at home. And at the BBC, we have an ambition to explore the positive impact of applying machine learning to our operations. So for the last 3 years now, I've been working with teams across the organisation who design, build and interact with these machine learning systems. And so we've been building a community of practice to support this ML development, because actually we all need to understand how the systems will affect how we do our work. And it's really key, and I'll reiterate this a few times, I'm not just talking about the data scientists, but I'm also talking about project managers and designers and journalists and engineers and policymakers and recruiters and social scientists. And I really do mean all of us, because no matter what our role is, machine learning will impact our job in one way or another. And so we need to adapt with technology, and we need to play to our unique BBC strengths. And I'll share more about what I mean by this, because the BBC is the world's leading broadcaster, and I work in design and engineering, so also referred to as D&E, but we deliver TV, radio and online services to millions of people every day. And at the same time, we're constantly trying to find new ways to get better at what we do and how we do it. And you may be familiar with some of our programs, but I would bet that you don't realise quite the extent of what we do. And I have this video that I can share that hopefully illustrates the immensity of what I'm talking about. Because actually when I saw it for the first time, I was quite surprised as well. So let me play it for you. Okay. Well, that is a lot of content, right? I mean, it's a lot. And our challenge is to get all of this content in front of our audiences. So the equation is the right content in front of the right people at the right time. Now, your interpretation of what's right, whilst it's very, very important to the conversation, it's not really relevant in this instance, because what I'm really trying to get across is the enormity of our challenge here. And so AI and ML systems promise to transform the creative capabilities of media organisations and also the productive capacity, which is great for us. But the BBC is very different to most media organisations because the BBC is quite unique in its public service remit. And public service is at the heart of everything that we do here. So we have publicly committed to developing AI and ML technologies responsibly in line with this commitment. Let me just share with you, this is an image of the BBC Royal Charter signed in 1926, so almost 100 years ago. The BBC was founded in 1922 and its mission to this day is to inform, educate and entertain. And public service broadcasting was developed for everyone. So almost 100 years ago, the BBC Royal Charter set out the guidelines for governance of the British Broadcasting Corporation. And the Charter essentially says, amongst lots of other things, but in relation to technology, that the BBC is here to deliver the benefits of communications technology in the interest of all. So this means that our organisation exists to serve individuals and society as a whole. And now you're probably thinking that communication technology has changed quite a bit since 1926, and you would be right, it has. And it's necessary now for us to think about how the BBC can play a public service role in the development of the right environment for AI and ML. So in 2017, as a response to the House of Lords Select Committee on Artificial Intelligence, we committed to doing 3 specific things. So the first one was to inform the debate. So this is through our editorial output, really. It's essential that each and every citizen is informed about the developments of AI and ML, and therefore, being equipped with being able to make informed judgments about how we use these technologies for ourselves. Secondly, bringing partners together. So this speaks to us bringing together public service institutions, academia, and the commercial sector to deal with the big issues at play. Of course, that's a moving feast, but of course, dealing with the big issues is key. And then responsible technical development. This comes at no surprise, really. So the BBC is using machine learning to enrich our audience's lives, but we need to do that in a way that upholds the public service values that have guided us for almost a century. And following on from our commitment, we have also developed and set a vision and mission statement for AI and ML at the BBC. So the vision is for the BBC to be a leader in artificial intelligence and machine learning, prioritising the needs of individuals and society, and using ML responsibly to deliver services that delight, inform and educate audiences in support of the BBC's public purposes. Our mission is to develop and deploy AI and ML at the BBC at scale so that the teams can deliver services to individuals whilst upholding our editorial values and bolstering our remit. And I think the key thing to pick up in here is the BBC public purposes and our editorial values. And this is what really does set us apart from many other media organisations out there. And so, unlike those media organisations, there is a need for our staff all around the organisation to better understand the power and limitations of data and algorithms and machine learning. And so we really, really need to make sure that, our organisation is ready for what comes next, and that our people understand what we're doing with data and ML. So our goal is to ensure that all members of staff, and this is regardless of our technical backgrounds, are able to make informed judgments around the use of data and algorithms. We also want to mitigate the potential danger of machine learning introducing bias in decision making and in journalism. So we're known as a respected, trustworthy news organisation, and obviously want to continue to do so. ML poses for us many opportunities, but also many potential risks. So to counter this happening, we need to properly understand how the world of data works. And because if we don't understand how the data flows and fuels our ML, then we can't adequately protect against, the potential of flawed decision making. And then long term, we expect that machine learning will become an ever more important tool to help us create greater audience experiences. So with all that in mind, a fabulous community of practice has evolved over the last few years. And our community really does bring together the many parts of the organisation that are involved in ML. So our aims are threefold. We like threes. So the first one is to support values-aligned AI and ML at the BBC. So this speaks again to our BBC values and making sure that we're aligned in what we do around AI and ML. Nurturing AI and ML learning development. So this is making sure that our staff are skilled and equipped and necessarily aware of what we're doing at the BBC. And the third one is to connect and coordinate AI and ML activity across the BBC. And I guess it's worth noting here that the BBC is pretty huge, which you may have already realised. And so lots of activity going on. Like we'll have teams building out recommendation engines, and these are serving our audiences, but then we have other teams, let's say within R&D, who are doing more exploratory work and looking at future technology. And whilst their projects don't necessarily overlap in terms of what they're doing right now, the learnings and the skills and the collaboration efforts that can emerge from these from sharing about these projects is just vast and incredibly valuable to us. So we have a machine learning ethical design working group, which brings together expertise from lots of different areas to work collaboratively. And it's represented by our data science teams, of course, but also engineering, product, editorial, news, design, legal, policy, monitoring, journalism, and so on. And that kind of sits as a core to what we do. It doesn't determine strategy or make decisions around architecture or have any say in what we deploy at the BBC, but it provides a scaffold for everything that happens to directly support the development of responsible ML. And I have on here lots of other things that we do around hackathons. We have a monthly newsletter, we have a Slack channel for machine learning, we've got a data science paper club that meets once a month, and then a data book club that meets once a month and shares their readings and lots of other things as well that's strengthening the community. And then in terms of bringing people together externally, we have an annual AI conference around, so it's media, tech and society, but with huge AI focus. And actually, Teens and AI have been heavily involved in this in the past. They've come and joined our exhibition and done demos at our fair and joined us on stage to explain the work that you've done in previous accelerators. We've also collaborated with the European Broadcasting Union to bring on a workshop around the media landscape. We bring our voice to external events as appropriate. So I put on here CogX. I know that Teens and I have also been closely tied in with CogX this year, which was virtual, and we addressed voice and disinformation and sessions this year. But there's many more of these events around data science and policy and regulation, very specific things, whilst there's also some other events that are not so specifically focused on one topic or another, but more broadly that we get involved in as well. And then as part of our commitment, we've also spent some time looking at principles and tools to help our practitioners avoid pitfalls of machine learning. And again, we bring together colleagues from around the organisation, so involved in this big effort were people from data science, policy, research and development, operational privacy, lots more, coming together to discuss how we ensure our work is in line with our commitment to responsible machine learning. So we've laid out our commitment, we're now delivering on it, and we need a mechanism to make sure that we're aligning. So the outcome was a set of 6 machine learning principles that created to drive our the delivery of our machine learning engines to support these public service outcomes. And very important, this set of 6 principles broken down under the headings of values, audiences and development of technology is supported by a checklist. And I think this is crucial because principles are wonderful, they're great, they set out what it is we intend to do, but the checklist is actually the piece that's most important for our practitioners, because it's a list of questions that they can work through to draw on the best practices both within the BBC and within the wider industry as well, because we have shared this with friends and colleagues in different organisations outside And so if we remember then that success for the BBC is in creating outcomes to serve everyone, well then in order to do this, we need the conversation around machine learning decision making to be inclusive. And that's why we brought all these groups together to develop these principles to help guide us as we move forward. I guess just to say that ever since 2017, so the last few years, the community has been growing from strength to strength. And we've delivered these conferences, and we've been developing recommendation systems that personalize our audience's experience on the products that they love, like BBC iPlayer and BBC Sounds. And there's so much activity internally and externally, and there's lots and lots of different places to tap into. But very important message for you all, you can get involved whether you're part of the BBC or not. There's so much opportunity for collaboration and learning. And a very good example of this really is how the BBC ANL community has supported Teens and AI over the last couple of years. So whilst we support you, and like I'm doing today, I'm also very much learning from you all the time. So I've been involved in a few different accelerators and hackathons, and my colleagues have been involved, and we've had some really, really great, interesting discussion and debate. And I guess alongside this message that yes, our community is here for everyone, not just people who work at the BBC. I'd also like you to think about, how you can take this with you moving forward. So in your schools or your colleges or in your workplace, as you progress through your careers, or even in your local communities, there's so much opportunity for tapping into, the technology community and how you can, offer what you can bring to the table, but also that you can learn from others. And I think it just makes us all better rounded human beings, as well as helping us to make better decisions and be more diverse and inclusive in our thinking and in our ways. So I would like to leave you with one final thought, and I use this quite a lot because I find it really, really powerful. Max Tegmark urges us to think about what we want society to look like. And he argues that until we establish the destination, we can't properly steer the engine. So we need to decide what we want our society to look like in order to steer our machine learning systems. He asserts that the more we come to rely on technology, the more important it becomes that it's robust and trustworthy, doing what we want it to do. And yeah, let me leave you with that note that we really must work together to design and develop ML responsibly, and for all of humanity, and with all of humanity in mind. So on that note, thank you very much, and I believe that we'll have some questions, so feel free to ask me any questions that I can help you with. Thank you.